Oh boy, y'all. It's been another one of them days. Do I even have my Switch on? Where the heck am I? Alright. Heck. We're going to start a new game today, which just came out. Everybody else is already streaming it, so it's fine. Just the new version of Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Again, don't know if we're going to do the whole trilogy. But we're going to start on that today. Health warning, dizziness, seizures. Presented as initially released. In other words, no sensitivity. Anyway, this game supports an autosave feature, okay? Can we confirm that? Okay. English, please. Unless... yeah, I'm not... oh, no. The game needs a privacy policy. Right, Game Selection Museum, check on options. Audio is probably fine. Okay. Story mode, no. Consultations. Alright. Okay. Ooh. So we get these episodes. Just go ahead and start. Set music background, switch games. Oh yeah, if we wanted to do Dual Destinies, Spirit of Justice, or the museum, which contains spoilers. Alright, what you got for me? Game from 2007. Episode 1, Turnabout Trump. Oh dear. Showdown time. You lose. Ah! Heek! Oh boy. It seemed to be in a bit of trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him. Hard. Me? Please. The cop should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that. April 20, 9:37 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Panicked. Palms sweaty. I can admit it. I'm nervous. Good morning. Good morning, sir. You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight. I don't know how I'm going to do voices at all, so... Usually it takes a bit before anything makes any sense. Wound up, sir? No, I'm loose. I'm fine. That screeching noise. Is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Your first trial, and it's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh? I'm fine. I got up at 5 a.m. to do my Chords of Steel voice workout. I'm fine. That explains it. I did detect a certain rasping quality to your screech. I never did it again. As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want to let him down, if you get my drift. Drift gotten, sir. I'm all over that drift. As it happens, I dined with him the night of the murder. We can't let this case fall through. Yes, I'm fine, sir. One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. People might take it the wrong way. Oh. I'll be preparing our case. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. Okay, I have a moment of low internet here. Give that a second to come back. Y'all can sit for an ad break for a moment. Yeah, I know the game is already not exactly needing the most animation, so you won't horribly be damaged by a slideshow, but professional pride. Okay. We remain in the red. Will it come back? Yeah, so we had a guy come out to look at the internet, why it is so terrible. Apparently there's issues within the building itself, so that's going to be fun. We either have to persuade the landlord to do anything or switch providers. And in this world, that would mean Comcast. Oh no. All right, okay, I think we're... Ooh! I was going to say it's back if we're getting and went straight back to 0. Oof. Anyway. My name is Apollo Justice. If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney, and today's my first trial. Not that I'm worried or anything. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants me to help him out, or wants to help him out, of course, and so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him. No way. Whoa. Good, morning? Morning. It's all up to you today. First trial, nervous. Meeting him, cardiac arrest. I think I'm supposed to say something. Help. So, you're... Fine. I'm fine. Ah, Mr. Fine, is it? I did remember you having an odd name. Well, we're off to a great start. Are you sure you're okay? I mean, with me? Mr. Gavin is a top-notch defense... Mr. Gavin is top-notch defense attorney. And he's your friend, so why... You'll see. Huh? You can do it. Be confident. I'm really sorry this happened to you. I mean, It's time, shall we? Yes, sir. Okay, I need to focus. The first trial. Here comes justice. April 20, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. The court is now in session. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is, fine. Ready, Your Honor. I'm going blank. Don't panic. Too late. Your name was Mr. Justice, and this is your first trial. Yes, Your Honor. But I'm fine, really. Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strained. Mr. Gavin? Yes, Your Honor. I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case. That was my intention, yes. However, the defense attorney must always see to his client's wishes. And my client specifically requested Mr. Justice. Well, of course he wants justice, but wouldn't trust his case to this greenhorn. Why? I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin. Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience, fine, but does he have cords of steel? Oh no. Well, let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom. This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances. Long time no see, Mr. Wright. Let's put the past behind us, shall we? These days, I'm merely Phoenix Wright, piano player. Mr. Wright, how could this have happened? I won't speak of it further, then. If the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges. Mr. Payne? To think, I saw you enter this room a fresh attorney, and now I'll see you leaving chains. Winston Payne. Subtle as ever, I see. The crime occurred at the Borscht Bowl Club, a Russian restaurant. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer, and he hit him, wham, on the head, smack, killed him cold. A customer at the restaurant, you say? And the defendant, you say he was... The pianist for the club, it seems. Phoenix Wright, a pianist. This is the weapon that took the victim's life, a bottle of grape juice. Grape juice is apparently our defendant's drink of choice. The court accepts the deadly bottle as evidence. Deadly bottle added the court record. Grape juice bottle used as the murder weapon. There's the defendant, Mr. Wright's prints. There's something to note, Justice. All evidence is filed in the court record. Make a practice of checking it frequently. The court record, right, I've heard of that. Use R to look at the evidence so far. I'm confident in your ability to handle this. Evidence. Okay, attorney's badge. How long did I yearn for one of these? Just putting it on makes me feel ready. Oh, we can examine things? Ooh. Alright. No clues here. Yeah, I kind of figured. Okay. Ooh. There's a number inscribed on the back of the badge. There are many numbers like it. This one is mine. Proof that I'm an attorney. Tell the truth, I get a happy feeling inside just looking at it. Okay, so it shows it's checked off that I have seen the thing. Cool. Back. Okay, Smith's autopsy report. The time of death was around 2 a.m., April 17. Death caused by single blow to forehead. 2 a.m. Ooh. Victim's name, Shady Smith. Age, male. Estimated time of death, April 17, between 1:45 a.m. and 2:15 a.m. Cause of death, cerebral hemorrhaging resulting from blunt trauma to forehead. Oh, that was direct and there's no examining it. Okay, it's just text. Okay. Crime photo 1. The sub-basement, the Borscht Bowl Club. Borscht Bowl Club. Okay. This is also not examinable. Okay. This is an interesting, okay. Well, we'll figure out what's up with that. Okay, we already read about the deadly bottle. Is that a sticker? Grape juice. How long has it been since I drank grape juice? Apparently it's Mr. Wright's favorite drink. I wonder how well it goes with borscht. Borscht? Has this bottle been... The bottle's completely empty. Okay. It's probably useful to know. Alright, that tells me that was everything we've got on this. Ooh, and we have our other tab with people. Christoph Gavin, age 32, boss of Gavin Law Offices, a first-rate defense attorney, and my trusted mentor. Phoenix Wright, pianist at the Borscht Bowl Club, formerly an ace defense attorney of some renown, but now at the ripe old age of 33. He's back. Shady Smith, the victim in this case, a traveler only recently back in country. Winston Payne, a prosecuting attorney. For all his experience, he lacks a certain presence. Right, just use R. Sounds like it's time for some hands-on action. So, the victim was a customer at this restaurant. But just who was this, Shady Smith fellow?
We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor.
A traveler?
According to his passport, he had been out of the country for a number of years. He had only returned to this country recently, though his place of residence is unclear.
And he had some sort of connection with the defendant?
That, too, is unclear at present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Borscht Bowl Club on the night of the crime.
If they had only just met, then why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing?
That doesn't appear to have been the case. No, the motive had nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skill. At least, not piano playing. I'll let this photo explain what I mean. As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime.
Wait a second. Isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in and of itself.
Indeed, it appears our defendant has fallen to become the basest sort of criminal.
Objection! It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. It was only that, a game in the purest sense. A competition, Your Honor.
Competition?
Yes, a test of wits. A silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. Come again?
The cards on the table had blue backs, Your Honor. I believe the defense was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present and impress women.
That will be our first order of business here, then, to find out more about this fatal game of cards. Very well, defendant. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held the night of the crime.
My pleasure. This is it. My first trial. Here goes nothing.
Witness testimony. The competition. Oh, good heck.
I am a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is, a game, and our customers are happy.
A pianist who can't play piano.
Better than a defense attorney who can't defend.
Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination.
Right, Your Honor. My first cross-examination. Don't blow it.
Are you all right? You're sweating bullets.
Bullets? Where?
It's a figure of speech, Justice. Your voice sounds strained and raspy, too.
My brain feels strange and raspy, sir.
You've watched me perform cross-examinations many times, though you've never done one yourself, have you? Care for a refresher?
What to do? Should I ask Mr. Gavin for a refresher course in cross-examination? Of course. Refresher course, please. Better safe than sorry, especially this early in the game. Yes, teach me. I know nothing.
Indeed. Your job, Justice, is to be mindful of the court record and the testimony. Look for inconsistencies in the testimony with what the court record tells you. When you've found an inconsistency, that's when you present the conflicting evidence from the court record with R. But I didn't hear anything strange at all in testimony just now. A good sign that you need to press the witness with L for more information. Press him? Don't let the fact that he's a remarkable man hold you back. Get more information. But isn't Mr. Wright my client? Well, think you can do it? Yes, thank you, sir. I think I can do it. I think you'd better, or we're going to have a problem. Just remember, find any inconsistencies, any lies in the testimony, and reveal them to the court. That is cross-examination. Learn it, know it, do it. Inconsistencies? Lies? Phoenix Wright? As if Phoenix Wright would never lie, and it's up to me to prove it. The defense may begin the cross-examination. Cross-examination. The competition.
I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all.
Hold it!
You can hardly play? Oh, I play sometimes, when customers demand it. So I play them one song, and that's usually all they want.
Was that supposed to be a boast just now?
The title of pianist is a mask, a respectable face I wear for the world at large.
Then why are you really at the Borscht Bowl Club?
My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table.
Hold it!
They pay you just to play poker?
That would seem to be the case. I am a professional after all.
Do I detect pride in that statement? It's just hard for an honest, hardworking member of society like me to imagine.
Yes, your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston.
What?
I've played poker for 7 years in that little room. And I've never lost. Once.
What?
You see why the customers come now? Defeat the undefeated poker champion? It's quite a draw. That is, I'm quite a draw.
Wait, you've never lost once? Not even one time?
As I said, I'm a professional.
He's played poker for 7 years and not lost once. Is that even possible?
The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions.
Hold it!
The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction?
It has quite a history, actually. The Borscht Bowl Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the day.
Black market?
All in the past, things like the black market are only on the silver screen nowadays. Suffice it to say that there were a lot of deals being made under the table. Right there in that room.
Smoky room, gambling hoods, you know. Just looking at this picture makes me feel bad.
The bosses gather around the table, cutting deals safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, a goon keeps watch through the small window. I can practically picture it now.
That window does look like it would be good for keeping a lookout, but little else.
The room had a few other tricks to it, though it was common knowledge to our regulars. At any rate, they come to play poker in a room steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all just good, clean fun. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards.
Hold it!
2 decks of cards?
A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you alternate 2 decks, no one can slip in cards.
There's something else I noticed. In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lying scattered on the floor.
Precisely. Cards on the table, cards upon the floor. Each one forming a complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad sweep of cards. It's poetic, really.
Incidentally, we used 2 types of cards at the club. One deck of cards was red, the other blue.
As I recall, in poker, you make 5-card hands. I can see how it would be easy to cheat.
Yes, a game of hands.
Huh?
This competition you're talking about. I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently.
That's right. What's a simple game, after all?
Are you sure?
Huh?
People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice. Defendant, you were in the room the very moment that the crime occurred. Yet you claim no connection to the crime.
No, that's strange.
What's strange?
I was testifying about the competition that night. Asking me about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Of course, I expected to hear a cry of objection from the defense.
Huh? I completely let that one slip by. Don't despair yet, Justice. Sir? Right. There's something I'd like made clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand, and I'd like to hear it from you.
Sure, why not?
Very well. The defendant will amend his testimony.
Just one little press, and I've got myself a whole new testimony.
I plead silence regarding the murder, but I will say I never touched the murder weapon.
Hold it!
Silence?
The defendant has the right to refuse to testify. I haven't forgotten everything about the law.
But why? That clearly puts you at a disadvantage.
And it's your job to turn that around in our favor, yes?
Great. Like you didn't have enough to do already. Justice? Didn't you detect anything odd about that testimony?
Yeah, I don't know how we got directly from me pressing to silence.
Huh? Wait, something he said did ring a little strangely. Just one thing. Now what was it? When you figure it out, I'd suggest presenting evidence. Evidence that contradicts the testimony. A contradiction in Mr. Wright's testimony? But why? Yeah, okay. Since he said he never touched it, and his fingerprints are on it. So I guess it was just a one-page whatever. Better check the court record. I can't imagine Mr. Wright lying in a testimony. Isn't it a little early to be jumping to conclusions? This is your first cross-examination. Take it slow. If you need more information, don't forget to press. Right, I got it. I'm fine. Time to listen to that testimony again.
I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is, a game, and our customers are happy. I didn't press that one. I did. I plead silence regarding the murder, but I will say I never touched the murder weapon. Okay, that's what it means, silence. Okay. Well, guess what? Your prints are on it. And I don't know why, as the defense, I'm showing this, but you know, bark.
Objection!
Opening objection awarded. So you say you didn't touch the murder weapon? This grape juice bottle? Right?
Well, so I said.
Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb.
What's this, Mr. Payne?
I examined the bottle in question, you see, and it was covered with the defendant's fingerprints.
Objection!
No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine. Excess yelling can damage the judge's ears and our case.
But what about my cords of steel? Anyway, what's so strange about fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant?
Well, that's true. The prints alone don't prove he did.
Oh, they wouldn't prove a thing if they were normal fingerprints.
Huh?
But the fingerprints on the murder weapon were upside down.
Upside down? What does that mean?
It means he was holding the bottle inverted, and there can only be one reason for that. Yes. To brain someone with the bottle.
Mr. Gavin, I think things just took a turn for the worse.
Oh? I see no problem, Justice.
Huh?
The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything. You'll see. Defendant, can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle to the court?
I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. For now.
Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case.
I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be some reason.
Objection!
Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something. And what might that be, Mr. Gavin? On the night of the crime, who was it who reported the murder to the police? Reported?
Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright. But still, that...
Really?
Yes, well, according to the case file, the murder was reported from near the scene by a call from the defendant's cell phone. Near the scene? Let's take a look at a diagram of the murder scene, shall we? The victim was murdered in a small room in a basement 2 floors down from ground level. Of course, cell phones can't get reception so far down. The defendant used the stairs in this hallway to go above ground. A call came from the first floor of the restaurant.
I see. And this is the phone that made the call? Right, cell phone added to the court record. Do I get to examine it, or do I have to... Anyway, used by the defendant to notify the police from the restaurant's first floor. The defendant could have fled the scene of the crime if he so chose. Yet he fulfilled his duty as a citizen and reported it to the authorities. And you claim he is being uncooperative?
Nice save, Mr. Gavin. I'd better not waste this.
I think the prosecution has toyed with our client enough for the time being.
Todd, I assure you, no one is more serious about...
What was it you said? The defendant was in the room the very moment that the crime occurred? How can you possibly know this? That's a good question. How indeed? The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness.
You're as good as they say you are.
So someone else was in the room the night of the crime? That must mean they witnessed the crime.
Everything up till now has been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready? Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand.
Hmm?
The witness will state her name and profession.
Hold on just a moment. Where's the witness?
I surmise that she's been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking horns.
So I used a little hair gel. Relax, people.
Have no fear. If any horns point in your direction, this court will cut them off.
You're sure?
I swear it on my gavel. Please, come out.
Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor? Well, if you're sure it's okay.
Now, the prosecution. Wait a minute. Would the prosecution care to explain the witness's, paraphernalia?
Yes. She's a professional, Your Honor. Those are merely the tools of her trade.
And that would be...
My name is Olga Orley. I'm employed as waitress in Borscht Bowl Club restaurant.
Then why the camera?
Of course, it is my pride to serve borscht at his naming restaurant. But I also perform, how is it said, other service.
I take it one of these other services is taking the customer's pictures.
Da, like for example, this one.
Huh. That's the defendant.
Indeed, on the night of the murder.
Man in white hat. He's one who's gone kaput.
Indeed, that is the victim. Order, order. This is quite a piece of evidence to casually drop in our laps.
It is same way as I drop cold bolts as a borscht on laps of customers. Casually.
Then the court will casually accept this new evidence. Olga's photo added to the court record. The defendant and Mr. Smith at the Borscht Bowl Club.
Now, witness, where were you at the time of the murder?
I was in the room. The hideout, we call it. Excuse me? The hideout? It is the room where famous gangster Bad Guy was arrested. It is the room where murder took place. What? Your look of utter surprise. It is lovely. I will post my courtroom door later for you. Photos will be numbered, and you will write which ones you want copy of. So there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga Orley, our witness. And if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, that means...
Very well, witness. You will testify to the court about that night's events.
Oh, yeah. That fateful night. That night, customer asked me to deal cards for game. It was cold. Both players played with hats on, The victim, he plays whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. Then, last hand is done. But something terrible has happened, That man flew at victim, and is strangling him to death.
Incidentally, who won the game?
Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. Because Mr. Wright can't lose.
Justice? Maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection?
But he hadn't lost in 7 years. See, the problem is, you haven't lost in 7 years. That gives you all the incentive to utterly destroy people who actually do beat you, so that the story doesn't get out that you lost, Not that we would do such a thing, but Phoenix Wright, he's, wild. But he hadn't lost in 7 years.
Take it from me, kid. It happens. I didn't lose a case in my 7 years as prosecutor either. Incidentally, I have some evidence here. These are the poker chips as they lay the very moment of the crime.
The gasp.
The hand and the chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Those on the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith.
Chips, you say?
Yes. Imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army, and the chips are the spoils.
I know that. After all, in my youth, I was known as the poker head of courtroom number 3.
But poker, isn't that gambling? I think he means poker face.
Looking at this picture, it does seem that most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table.
Chip's photo entered the court record.
Uh-huh. Defendant and victim's chips when the crime took place. Very well. The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Cross-examination. Oh, no. That faithful night. Fateful, yes. That night, the customer asked me to deal cards for a game.
Hold it!
You were dealing cards? Do you do this often? Yeah, I'm doing this. If customer wishes it, I serve anything. Borscht, cards, more borscht. It is my work.
It's good to hear of a place that hasn't forgotten the meaning of service.
Welcome to the Borscht Bowl Club, where borscht is warm as waitresses. Thank you for not handing out flyers during the cross-examination. It was cold. Both players played with hats on, duh?
Hold it!
It's already April. How can it be cold? At the Borscht Bowl Club, we have pride on authentic rustic Russian restaurant theme. Outside it is city in spring, but inside it is always cold as Mother Russia. No way am I going in there. When it comes to hot borscht, cold is best seasoning, huh? The victim, he plays whole time with his hand on locket at his neck.
Hold it!
His locket? I believe it was good luck charm, huh? He clipped it many times as he played that night.
Yes, he must have felt as though it might carry him to the moon and the stars. Though if it were small enough to fit around his neck, it wouldn't have much lift.
The defendant would like a clarification. This is a locket we're talking about? Oh no. I mean, a pendant with a picture in it, right? Not a rocket?
Oh, of course, I knew that. It was probably a pendant shaped like a rocket. That's why she called it that.
No, a locket's a locket. Doesn't matter which.
It's considered bad form to poke fun at the hard of hearing in our society.
Hard of hearing or hard of understanding?
Either.
So, what happened next?
Then, last hand is done. But something terrible has happened, huh?
Hold it!
Something terrible?
The defense will refrain from needless shouting.
Sorry. I need to seriously reconsider this vocal training thing.
Now, Miss Orley, can you tell us what happened?
Oh, I was so frightened. I trembled with fear. That man flew at the victim, and he's strangling him to death.
Hold it!
Yeah, that's suspicious, yeah. But the defendant would never do such a thing.
Well, now, I can't say I've ever heard the defense try this tactic.
If possible, please refrain from embarrassing me.
Still, why would anyone do something like this over a game of poker?
Perhaps it is because defendant has lost game?
Yes, a crushing defeat for a man undefeated. So it always is with men like him. Winners make sore losers. Oh, how the mighty fall.
Go ahead. I believe you know what it is you need to do. Right, sir. Leave it to me. There are only 3 people in the room at the time of the murder. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, I've got you now, Orley.
Okay, so this was not a murder by strangling. So that is... okay, well, no! Okay, yeah, we already did this. I'm sorry.
I know.
I meant the court record, but it was different than okay. Okay, yeah. Cause of death: blunt trauma to forehead, or grape juice bottle was the more weapon. All right, so this is a thing.
Oh, a piano. Okay. Just to see what exists in the room that's just going on there.
But none of this is relevant because the point is. Okay. Cold. Yeah.
Strangling him to death. Okay, so we present probably the autopsy.
Yeah, because it's not.
Objection!
Oh, really? Strangled, you say? That's odd. Normal customers only choke on borscht. No, I mean, this report shows that the victim died of a blow to the head. Ah! Miss Orley, really now? Did you witness the crime?
Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything.
Yes, it is a fact that he was hit, Your Honor. Here's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during our investigation.
Well, that's quite shocking, isn't it? This head certainly was hit.
Crime photo 2 added to the court record. Photo of forehead. Hat removed during investigation. But I've seen it happen. The defendant, he lunged at victim, his neck. Really, Miss Orley? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time.
Justice? I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you should think this through once more.
What do you mean? I found a contradiction.
There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me. Very well. It seems we should continue the cross-examination.
There's such a thing as thinking too much.
This
horse is dead. Let's stop beating him.
There's such a thing as thinking aloud too much, too. Okay, his hat's on, so...
Defendant tried to strangle victim with the bottle. So, did work? Work? Oh, this is the new... Okay, so this is the new testimony. Testimony! After defendant tried to strangle victim, he hit him with bottle.
Hold it!
You didn't say anything about hitting before. Sorry, I must be forgetting this stuff.
Witness, you will take greater care with your testimony.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
And that clears up the discrepancy with the autopsy report, I believe. The defendant made to strangle his victim, then changed his mind. And chose a simpler, blunter means to do the job. Yes, that sums it up nicely.
So he strangled him, then hit him? Something's fishy about all this.
Go ahead.
I believe you know what it is you need to do.
Right, sir. Leave it to me.
There are only 3 people in the room at the time of the murder. Okay, back. Okay, so we have a clear view of the guy's neck. It is not in the way that the neck gets destroyed during a stranglage, right? Can I demonstrate that? Details. I can check the details before doing a thing. Yeah, his neck is it's not bruised anything like his head is. But also... Alright, we'll try it. With the correct button.
Objection!
Oh, this is wrong.
This evidence clearly reveals a contradiction in that statement, Your Honor.
It sure doesn't.
How exactly are the evidence in the statement just now related?
They aren't, are they?
Not at all. Mr. Justice, please think the facts over before making accusations.
I don't think that won me any points with the judge.
Okay, so he hit him with a bottle, but he didn't. Or did he? Or didn't he? Wait. Okay, so let's continue to look through our evidencia. Evidencia? Okay, so this is the guy. Oh, hold on. The locket around his neck, it does not exist. Where did that go? Was it in this picture? It was not in that picture either. Oh, yeah. That's the one, that's the one we saw around Phoenix, isn't it? Which is why I was not confused by it. Or why I thought she was... Yes, I slipped here between thinking he was talking about Phoenix Wright, who has it around his neck right now. Can I show it here? I think that's,
Objection!
There you go, okay.
You know, there was one curious part in your testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said. But what does it mean?
Mr. Justice, would you care to explain what it is you're thinking so intensely about?
Recall the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on the locket at his neck, I believe she said. I hope you aren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar. No, but look at this photograph. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck?
Well done, Justice. I'm impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this.
But what does it mean?
If we're to believe this witness's testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death.
Lockets don't just disappear, Your Honor.
It's quite simple when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone must have taken it off, no?
Taking it off? Wait, you don't mean...
The defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it?
Ah.
Huh?
Defendant, what do you have to say to this?
He's literally wearing it right now.
Say.
Yes?
I just noticed this, but you have something hanging around your neck, don't you?
Oh, you mean this? Yes, it's a locket with a photograph inside. A photo of my daughter.
Come again?
Mr. Wright, you have a daughter?
We confirmed it at the time of the arrest. The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter.
So, Mr. Wright has a locket too? Why don't I buy that this is just a coincidence?
Well now, if the results of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps we should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game.
Further testimony won't really be necessary. It's clear the defendant lost. Badly.
Ms. Orley, you will testify to the court about the game played between the victim and defendant.
Witness testimony. Serious competition. The game began with 3,500 pointing chips for each man. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who is winning, he was victim. For last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabs bottle from table and...
Indeed. Looking at this picture, it does seem to be a one-sided game.
As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow.
How many times have I heard these words? I done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor, and now I regret what I done. A common tale, but true.
He thinks the judge watches too many old court movies. Mr. Wright said he hasn't lost in 7 years, so this testimony must be wrong. Serious competition. The game began with 3,500 pointing chips for each man.
Hold it!
Are those the usual starting points? Were any special rules used? Not special. Usual game. Usual rules.
If each man began with 3,500 points, then the total would be... exactly 7,000 points.
Please, this isn't calculus. It's not even long division. House chips come in two sizes, small and large.
Hold it!
Are the chips in the photo all the chips that were used? Of course.
Huh?
Something's fishy with these chips. Should I press harder? Press harder. Of course press harder. Why not press harder? Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips? Explain? What is there to be explained?
Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fishing chips, not a chip off the old block, not a motorcycle cop, not a...
Thanks. Now that I pressed her, I better ask something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars? Or rubles even? Yet, as you've been saying before, this is game, not gambling. Hard perhaps for capitalists to understand. Two types of chip, 100 points and 1,000 points chip. It is not money, da. Justice? Sir, don't you fight or comment interesting? So, 10 times or 100 times as many? And which is which? Is that like 10 and... It's like either one is bigger than the other or the other one is bigger than the one, but which is which? Do we know? In more ways than one, sir. I'd have it added to her testimony myself.
Well, does the defendant want the witness to add to her testimony?
Yeah. Yes, I do think this deserves further scrutiny. Added to the testimony. I wish I knew where I was going with this.
Very well. Witness, if you would be so kind.
That, Your Honor. One kind of chip is worth 100 points, other kind is worth 1,000. Two kinds in all.
Hold it!
And which is which? Mr. Gavin said this testimony is important. To be honest, I have no idea why.
Mr. Justice, do the court a favor and think of what you want to say before raising your hand. We're not in kindergarten.
Sorry, I'm fine. I'd better think of something to ask. And quick. The two types of chips. Da. The small ones are 100 and the big ones 1,000? Right? Right, of course.
Ha! Don't waste our time.
Is that all?
Yeah. Oh. Great. Mr. Gavin made me stop her. Now I'm the one who looks dumb.
Oh, Justice? Please try not to embarrass me like that.
Huh? Who? Me? There's a clear contradiction in the information you have in your hands. What? It's a simple matter of calculation. Go on, try it. Oh, right, we can do it because we know it's exactly 7,000 total, right? And so if the gray ones were the 1,000 ones, there's way more than 7 there. There's like 9. Yeah. So it's the small ones are worth the 1,000. There are 6 of them, and then the rest, the remaining 10 are the, yeah, okay. Yeah. We're not in kindergarten after all. Calculation. The one who was winning. It was victim. Okay, so it wasn't, but also yeah, okay. We still haven't pressed this one yet.
Hold it!
You're telling me that Mr. Wright, undefeated for 7 whole years, was losing? Actually, I don't know a good place where I can put that, because she talked about 3,500 points, but I can't just show that in addition to... yeah, back. It must have been most unlucky day for him. I'm glad I did not take other picture of him. It would break camera, certainly. The chips, they went always to victim's side of table.
So you're telling us it was a one-sided game?
One-sided, and... For the last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose.
Hold it!
Last hand? It was largest points of any hand. The defendant's hand was excellent. He tried to use it to take victory from behind.
It appears that both the defendant and the victim's hands were in this picture. That is truly an excellent hand. However, so is the victim's.
One with highest number wins, so defendant loses.
The victim, Mr. Smith, had a stronger hand than the defendant and crushed him. I believe that explains what occurred next.
Once cards laid down on table, it happened. The moment the loss was decided, defendant grabs bottle from table and what contradicts your prior testimony where he goes for the triangulate.
Hold it!
And what happened next? Even to think of it now, I shake and tremble down. I did not believe such thing would happen. What such thing? Please, you must believe. I had no idea. How could such thing occur? What such thing? Niet. The defendant had been hitting victim. This all happened right before me. I saw a bottle coming down on victim's head.
Decisive, isn't it, Your Honor? My witness saw the very moment of the crime.
Remember, your first goal is to gather information.
Yes, sir. Look out, contradiction. Here comes justice. Okay, so... I don't know where I have to present this. I'm pretty sure it has to go back at... But... I don't know if I can offer this yet, or if here is where I offer it. But we're gonna try. Because... Bark. It's really messed up. Hold on. Wait, hold on. I can press this again, right? And I might get something different. Hold on. Can I do... I would like a save, in fact. Meter. No, okay. I'm gonna press this again.
Hold it!
If it's the same, then rock over. Are those the usual starting points? Were any special rules used? No, not special. Usual game, usual rules.
If each man began with 3,500 points, then the total would be, exactly 7,000 points.
Please, this isn't calculus. It's not even long division.
Okay, so I'm going to try this.
Well, I don't know where I would present it, but I'm going to present it.
Objection!
You sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure?
It seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won, if you're not in kindergarten.
Just for safety's sake, could you explain the problem to the court?
Of course, Your Honor. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points?
Right, the big ones, of course. Duh.
Oh, I thought so too. But then the totals don't add up.
The totals?
So let's review what the witness told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in chips, and the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points.
Yes, if my calculations are correct. Let's see, 3 plus 1, carry the 5.
They are, Your Honor. Now, look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points, and the small chips are worth 100, and you add them up,
How much is it?
do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness testimony.
But why? How can this be?
Exactly. Justice. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why. Right. There's only one possible way to explain this contradiction.
Starting points were wrong, chip count was wrong.
Both were right. Yes, both the starting points were correct and the chip count is correct, but the sizes are different. Each man began the game with 3,500 points. If all the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can be only one answer.
Well, what is it?
The value of the chips was the other way around.
What?
Want to know what I think? The small chips were worth 1,000 points, not the big ones.
Madness! Utter madness!
Show me that photograph of the chips again. There were 6 small chips and 10 large chips. Why, that does make 7,000 points when you add them up.
Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself. Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it.
But wait. The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing.
Indeed, the victim did have the larger number of chips still.
Larger number of chips, but count. Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add up the points for each side of the table.
The victim, Mr. Smith, had 2,900 points, and the defendant had 4,100 points.
Well now, it seems Mr. Wright was winning that night after all.
That's impossible.
My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning. Now, Ms. Orley, you must have known the true value of the chips, since you were there at the scene of the crime, weren't you? Eek!
Order, order. It appears our defendant has lost his motive. and Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. We must now ask ourselves whether we can trust the witness's testimony. Excuse me? What is it, Miss Orley?
I did not want to be saying this, but actually, you see,
See what, Miss Orley? What do we see?
in the last hand, there was cheat.
Cheat? You don't mean a trick?
Wait, or do you mean a scam?
They're all the same thing. Yes, there was cheat in last hand. That is why game ends with chips as they are. Great, just great. First we have lying, now cheating. Well, this case certainly has taken a turn. For the interesting.
Witness, you will please testify to the court. Tell us about this cheating in the final hand.
The final hand. In the last hand, both men had full house. There is 4 of each card in the deck, from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. The next moment, game becomes argument. The defendant's trick was exposed. Hold on, let me look at both men's hands. I mean... bark, 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 bark. Like... Wait, yeah, I don't know how to bark that yet. We'll see. Yeah. The next moment, game becomes argument, The defendant's trick was exposed. He took bottle in his hand. Poor Mr. Smith. Miss Orley, why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? I thought I smelled a cover up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers.
A full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not easy to make, in my experience.
That alone is enough to suspect less than scrupulous tactics.
Mr. Gavin? Mr. Gavin? What's a full house?
No. Liars these days, you don't know your poker?
Poker? Isn't that gambling?
I can't say this bodes well for your case or career.
What is this? Some kind of secret court poker ring? Justice? You know the terms 1 pair, 2 pair, and 3 of a kind, yes? Yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number makes a pair, 3 makes 3 of a kind. Good. Now picture a hand with 1 pair and 1 3 of a kind. That's a full house. That doesn't sound very easy to make, does it?
You can see each player's hand in this photo.
Wow, they both have full houses.
We forget there's an easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
If he did cheat in the last hand, that still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Who's ever heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat? Didn't expect to have to cheat harder than they did. Final hand, okay. The last hand, both men had full house.
Hold it!
Just how hard is it to make a full house, anyway? It is quite hard, He's making a pair and 3 of a kind at the same time. I guess that's right.
Very difficult to be sure. You can take my word as the poker head of courtroom number 3.
Very difficult, but it's not impossible. Okay, full house, hard. This line of questioning, a waste of time. There is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. 4 of each card, you say? Ah, there is 1 spade, 1 diamond, 1 heart, and 1 club for each card. It is interesting fact that this number 4 comes from number of seasons. Huh, you don't say.
Ah, and did you know that the cards are numbered 1 to 13? Add all the cards in a deck and you get 364 a year.
Huh, you don't say. Isn't that 1 day short?
That's why each deck has 2 jokers. They say the second joker stands for the leap year. Thus you have a perfect representation of the year, all in a deck of cards.
Huh, you don't say. We're gonna be in this courtroom for a year if it keeps going like this. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious.
Hold it!
How is it clear? Well, the defendant, he played the 5th ace. 5th ace? I still remember both hands very well. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. And Mr. Wright's 2. Is that the evidence of my eyes? That is not what the evidence of my eyes says. I see 4 aces. So, shenanigans.
Obviously cheating was afoot, or perhaps I should say, a hand.
Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's joke.
Very well. The witness will add this detail to their testimony, please.
Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces, and Mr. Wright's 2. This is 5 aces in all. Okay, I must protest.
Objection!
It appears the witness is mistaken. Mistaken? But my name... Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony.
That's the photo of the chips, is it not?
Justice? Perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way that the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point.
Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo. What particular point contradicts the witness's testimony?
Here, there are only 2 aces. Point with
Take that!
present. Miss Orley, in your testimony, you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces. Eek!
Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question.
Objection!
Take another look at the evidence. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where's this 5th ace? I see cheating all right, and it's going on right here in this courtroom.
2 aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces total. Hardly proof of cheating.
Wait, please. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you. That's odd. She must be lying, yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day. You're right to trust your instincts. Mr. Gavin? Who knows what lies in store for us in the trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion.
What might that be, Mr. Gavin?
If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards?
The cards?
Mr. Payne,
Yes?
the players' hands that night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court.
Very well, the prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine? The victim's cards or the defendant's cards?
If these cards don't prove cheating was going on, nothing will. Now, which of these hands is more suspicious? I would have to... I mean, the one that is ranked higher is the more suspicious because if someone is cheating, they are expecting to win. Yes? Question mark. Because the 2 aces and 3 kings would be the yeah. Anyway, it was the victim's hand that changed over the course of the witness's testimony. The defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards.
Very well. Mr. Payne, if you would.
Very well.
Received evidence, victim's hand. Victim Smith's hand was left at the scene. A full house. Well, times are wasting. Get to it, Justice. Yes, sir. Look out. Look right at it. This is something we can examine. Meaning something we can rotate. Only one of the cards has a blue back. I'm much more of a red guy myself. Blue's so not red, you know? Okay, so that's obvious shenanigans. The card backs are red. For some reason, I thought they were using blue back cards in the final hand. Yeah, so problem, many problem. Okay. Any more? I think we're good. The witness in this case, a Russian waitress at the Borscht Bowl Club. Borscht Bowl Club? Something like that. Yes, sir. I just did it! Oh, is it being looked at automatically? I'm not supposed to know this yet. When examining evidence, be sure to view it from all sides and angles. Try using the right stick to turn it every which way, and X and Y to zoom in and out. That should give you a better perspective on the case. Okay, let's do this. Okay, but again, we've already done this. We gotta do it again. What? Your Honor, look at this! One of the victim's cards, the back is a different color. That's impossible. But I put that card in the right hand.
What was that, Miss Orley?
No, yet. I mean, it said, I have... Your Honor.
Mr. Gavin, yes?
Tell me, what is the easiest way to cheat at poker?
To cheat?
I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend. A comrade, shall we say. The dealer. Wait, so you mean... this witness? Miss Orley? She's the cheater. A professional, I'd wager. Yeah!
Order? Order?
Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. Of her mistake. Your Honor? Please recall the testimony we just heard. That's impossible. But I put that card in Wright's hand. Ergo, Ms. Olga Orley conspired to cheat, not with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith. Oh! Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim.
What?
Wait, you don't mean... the defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga Orley, are you?
Time for justice. There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident. And if Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means... I am. Not guilty, but the defense accuses the witness, Miss Olga Orley, of murder.
Mr. Payne, where's your witness, Miss Olga Orley?
It appears she has lost, consciousness, Your Honor.
Mr. Justice?
Your Honor.
It seems you presented a new possibility to the court. Wasn't suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith.
That means...
This court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time.
What?
I did it! I held out!
I see no point in prolonging the trial this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries.
Objection!
But, Mr. Wright?
You can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet.
What nonsense is the defendant spewing now?
Think. One of the cards had a different colored back. Don't you wonder what it means?
What are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objections right when you're about to get off the hook? Ridiculous.
Mr. Payne, you of all people should know, Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game that fateful night.
Like,
Okay. As was said before, we alternated between 2 decks of cards that night.
that was said before.
The 2 decks of the club have different colored backs, blue and red. 1 color per deck.
I use different colored backs.
If we use the same color, the 2 decks might get mixed.
You use different colors and they still got mixed up.
We used the red deck for the last game.
I see, but that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you were using the blue cards.
Yeah, me too. I'm sure someone said something about blue cards.
Well, it's because there's the whole stack of them right next to the other ones. But maybe that just means that the ones they're not using? Question mark? I don't know.
Whatever. In the end, 1 card of the wrong color got into the mix, which means there was cheating.
Yes, a card slipped into the deck would seem to indicate cheating. Yet, this card raises 2 serious questions. Apollo?
Yes?
Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think. In the last game, when was the card swapped?
When?
There are 3 broad possibilities here. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder.
Well, yeah, thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course it was
Oh? It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne, or it might not be. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards were swapped?
When was the card swapped into the deck? Oh no. Oh no, so we already have testimony from Ms. Orley saying that it was... Well, she already said that there were 3 aces before the murder. So the card was swapped either during or after, possibly. Yeah, those are still the same ones. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Wait. Which card was it now? Let's take a look at that. It is the King of the Diamonds. Is the wrong color card. But I'm thinking after the murder too, because then they just have the whole second blue deck on the table from after they got done playing Bark, Bark, Bark. That makes the most sense, you know. The murder is over. You have time to get the deck out, find the correct whatever. That's my guess. But okay, King of Diamonds. Where is that on the King of Diamonds is also placed on top of all the other cards. You don't hold cards like that. Usually it's like the other side where, you know, they go in order from different topness to bottomness, like if you had a stack and you just spread them out. Perhaps it happened after the murder? I like the way the music kept going.
What's that? Ridiculous. What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly.
Objection!
Yes, but tell me, how do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible.
Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossible.
Oh? Even when the backs of the cards are a different color? If you pull that during the game, you'd be caught in no time.
Ah. Quite true. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown, after the murder.
Okay, this is going past silly and straight on to crazy. I ask again, what's the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that?
Oh, indeed. That's one of the mysteries before us.
There's another.
Yes, a simple yet decisive question must be asked. Who swapped the red card for a blue card?
Who? The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only two remain in the room. Alive, that is. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga Orley. Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for a blue? So Olga's the one who said she swapped it, but she said she swapped it to a different. I mean, Well, hold on. What is history? Is history real? How history works. Oh, that's all as far back as it goes. Oh well, so much for history. So, okay, so Olga said she put the card in Phoenix's hand, but first off, that would have been in Phoenix's hand, not Shady Smith's hand. And second off, back. So if the funny thing was that it was in Phoenix's hand, then Phoenix moved it? Would Phoenix tamper with evidence? And who is someone else? Where would someone else come from? I think that's a little random. Like, if Olga was in cahoots with him, changing the card what is the motive? The motive for changing the card would be to hide cheating, or to indicate, or to falsely suggest that cheating happened. Oh no. Yeah, so hide cheating, but instead of... I don't know, is Four of a Kind better than Full House? I really don't know. Alright, I'm gonna say it's Olga. Am I gonna say it's Olga? Yeah. Why, it must have been Olga Orley who swapped the cards. She was trying to cover up evidence of the cheating.
That does make some sense.
Sorry. But there's a problem with that explanation.
Huh?
The swapped card was from the wrong deck.
Yes, a blue card was stuck into a red hand.
Mixing a card from the wrong deck when the backs are different colors? Remember that you're talking about Olga Orley. She was the dealer. Do you really think she would make such a novice mistake?
Actually, I have trouble imagining even the judge making that mistake.
Give it a little more thought, Apollo.
Right. Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for a blue? Someone else? Was someone looking in through that window that we heard about earlier? The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course. And, well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga Orley either.
What are you suggesting?
That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As the defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Ms. Orley at this point. Yes, I know. But she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make the mistake of swapping the wrong color card.
And if the card was swapped during the game, it'd be obvious. Something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright?
Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking how much fun all this is.
Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card wasn't the defendant and it wasn't Miss Orley, then who was it?
Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it?
Precisely.
Huh?
I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction.
A new direction?
We'll find that, indeed, after the murder, someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand, and that someone made two critical mistakes.
I'm sure you're going to tell us that the first was swapping the wrong color card.
Because the one who did the swap didn't know two colors of cards were being used.
Yes.
The other mistake was the number on the card.
Right. Person replaced the fifth ace with a king.
I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a fifth ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in.
But there's one problem. According to our case record, this person doesn't exist.
True, not until now, but you have to admit the possibility of a fourth person. Though it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime.
What?
I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright.
This trial has proceeded on one central assumption, namely that, at the time of the incident, there were only 3 people in that room.
I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption?
The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court.
I suppose that is a problem, yes.
Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Very well. The trial will resume in 20 minutes.
April 20, 11:52 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 3. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. To suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth?
Well now, I'd think you would know the answer to that.
Ah, being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I've no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome.
I see you haven't mellowed out one bit, Kristoff.
Justice? Yes, sir. The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me.
You did well, Apollo.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright?
Ah, you're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket? Here, you can take a look at it. That's a picture of my daughter in there. Dun dun dun.
I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter.
Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days.
Oh, one more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you?
What do you think?
Huh?
You know what happened 7 years ago? What I did? It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat.
I never, honest, but it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years.
Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker.
Huh?
You see, poker is all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's a lot like a court case.
Poker is like trial law?
Figure out what your opponent is thinking, and you win.
Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds.
I think not.
Huh?
Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a valuable source of information.
You're kidding.
That witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice?
No. Come on, who'd notice that?
Words, habits, twitches, it's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you.
But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals.
No, you can do it.
Huh?
You just don't know it yet.
What's he talking about?
But you will, soon. Ah, almost forgot. One more thing about this case. You should know, I haven't told the truth to anyone yet.
What? I knew it.
I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there defending me. I need your power.
My, power? I had no idea my Courts of Steel were that special.
It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best.
To be continued. Oh no. And indeed it will, because we've reached the end of our time, pretty much. Save my current progress, you betcha. Save complete.